Well, that was loud. Good morning, Suzanne Joy.
Good morning, Deborah, LeeAnn.
Shall we tune in and talk about ecstasy? Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
So this gene key of the week is, and we're talking about gene keys written by Richard Rudd, and this one is pretty prevalent. This is gene key 46. And in the shadow state, before we talked about ecstasy, a lot of people can relate to this. It's all about seriousness. Life is really serious. And in the shadow state of seriousness, there's two different states. One is frigid, and the other is frivolous. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And then out of that seriousness, delight comes. That's the gift. And how delightful that that finally breaks through after all that seriousness. And from that state of delight is ecstasy, which is your highest essence of this particular um, pattern in life. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
I This key features twice in my primary profile and once in one of my daughters as well. So it's one that always felt very foreign to me because I don't think we use the word ecstatic and ecstasy very often unless we're talking about really ethereal, like super religious, spiritual experiences or whatever. And it just felt too far away to get to. Um, and I also can see how this so perfectly plays in my life because I do go the serious route until I just something hits me funny and I laugh out loud and and then it moves. But it is a very familiar, way too familiar space. And I'm looking at our world, and it's hard to look at everything going on without feeling like, how do we feel delighted about that? We
well,
don't need to feel delighted. I'm going to just say that we don't need to feel delighted. But what we can do is tap into, where am I in this? Where's
right.
my light?
And I think that so often as humans, we do get serious when we completely forget our divine nature, like completely forget that there's something bigger than us in the world that's going on, and that this is just showing our stuff in our face. And
It's like our humanity.
yeah,
Yeah. And our
yeah,
shadow. Hello.
yeah. And
That's a
so,
great way to say it, and thank you for that because I think it is the forgetting, which is what most of these shadows point us to, is like, "Hey, wake up. Have you had enough of this yet?
yeah.
Look what I got on the other side."
Well, and I think that that's where we get the breakthroughs, right?
Yeah.
That we get to go into those depths. And if we're being frigid, it's almost that we're repressing that natural part of us.
Oh,
It's and it's not I think probably sometimes it's because we don't even appreciate and love this body that we have. And so that's when people lose that juiciness of life because they're not even in their bodies enjoying
yeah.
the the delight that we have these senses.
Mhm.
I'll never forget when a dear friend of mine passed away, and I was talking with her on the other side, and she said, "Enjoy it. Like you still have all of the like go smell the flowers and you have like touch the really soft things, eat delicious food, like smell those wonderful senses." She goes, "I don't have that anymore." And so, it was just a huge like reminder of be embodied, love this like vehicle you're in, and live
And
it to
then the
its fullest.
delight's there, and
Yeah,
ecstatic states show up. We don't have to go searching for them. I think this is why a lot of people drink or do drugs because they're trying to get to that state versus sometimes if we just are still, it comes to, well, I'm going to say for myself, my experience is it comes to me. I remember when I'm just still and let it be versus, where are you? Where are you?
right. And
Ah,
and the aside from the repressed nature, of course, the reactive nature is frivolous. So those are people like that say that they don't have a care in the world when deep down inside they are still emotionally reactive and there's a lot of anger there. So
Mm-hmm.
just witnessing both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And
And,
as
and
we,
I and I was playing with. Oh, go ahead. I'm going to talk about
no,
that a
I
little
was
bit
just
when
going to
you
say,
say.
as we loosen our attachments to what may be going on, that's where we can allow surprises to come, and that's what the delight is about.
Yeah. And the the delight is just such a soft feeling. It's our true nature. It's the childlike. It's what you see when you see children playing. They just are being who they are. They're not going, well, I wonder if my friend will like me more if I go on the slide. Like that decision doesn't
Oh,
play. So it's and the other thing that I was playing with this morning as I was waking up is I had that very clear thing of how this ties into peace. We're just leaving the pulse of of peace, and I'm thinking, well, of course, having when you experience peace, then the delight, the ecstasy is right there. So, but when we're so jumbled in our mind or our emotions are churning and we focus on that, it feels very far away. So, yeah.
well, I was also, as Richard was talking about this form, as you mentioned, is very childlike. It's developed typically in when we were first born, all the way up to the age of 7, right? That
Hmm.
is that formulating and imprinting in ourselves safety and and feeling into this body that we just came into. And so, more than anything, if a child feels safe in their body, they're going to be very regulated. They'll be able to handle a lot more than if they were dysregulated in their body at such a young age. So it's just something to reflect on, not
Hmm.
just loving thoughts, but actually feeling safe in their bodies. So,
And I'm going to tie that really quickly to we always saw the correlation. Like if a child is at a birthday party and they're having a great time, and then they have another piece of cake, and then maybe a juice, and then they're getting sugared up. That taking them out of their natural, what did you call it, regulation?
mhm.
It's like when we mess with our system by not sleeping, by not playing, by not eating the right things, our body, it makes it very hard for us to regulate. And it also makes it very hard for us to drop into delight. And we keep thinking, well, if we do more, have another glass of wine, if I do more of this plant medicine, if I do whatever, then I'm going to reach that state. No, sometimes it's just pull back and take care of the body, and then the rest of us can fall into place. So it's interesting how the mind, body, soul, and heart are all so interconnected to help us reach, well, like you were saying, regulation, which I love that.
And
Okay.
the physiology of this is blood, which I find
Is it?
interesting. Yeah. So
Well,
it's
I'm
it's
like,
flowy. It's very flowy, and it is.
yeah, and it goes to all the organs.
And
That's
in
fast.
human design, it's found in the heart center.
Okay.
So that makes complete sense.
Yeah. Love that.
And when
And
I feel into it, it's like following your signal, your heart signal. And when you can follow your heart signal, that's where the delight happens. It's not when you're trying to figure it out. It is literally following that inner spiritual quotient GPS, and it's actually called the science of luck, because you're serendipitously going to be places where you feel called to be
yeah,
in your body. It's like it directs you. So,
that is so, so good. Yeah, and that was the other thing that I could never understand the combination. This is how our brains work. When we want so much to attain the gift or the Siddhic state that we're trying so hard through this to understand it, sometimes it's that contemplation is not concentration. That's why he calls it the art of contemplation, for a reason. You allow it to be with you, and sometimes it's the washing of the dishes, and you go, oh, this is delight. So I'm visiting my an elderly aunt up in Ohio this week, and this morning as I was preparing my space to be in, I swept and cleaned up the cat box room, and I thought, is this delight? And I was like, absolutely. So it was funny to me because I'm thinking that's kind of a yucky job, but I was doing this because of wanting to be in service, wanting to clean this and clear the space. You know what I mean? It was a very fascinating thing. So, do you want to introduce ecstasy?
Well, I love the fact that he says delight invokes grace, and
Mm,
it's about enjoying our ride while we're here. And when we get into ecstasy, that is like when we have finally are tending to garden of our inner being. It's like tending to the weeds of our thought and reshaping aspects of our life to um, be filled with more delight. And it can only come from the heart center. And that's
yeah,
where the ecstasy happens because it's a natural component of our spiritual nature that's embodied.
yeah. And so, if to use the garden analogy, for so long I felt like I needed to look a certain size to be attractive to the opposite sex or to look good in my suits at work. I mean, I had all of these external reasons versus, oh, I just want to take care of this because it's me. You know what I mean? I'm just
Right, right.
thinking, so it's that space to really tune in and cultivate or curate that inner thing. I love how you said that. Thank you. When do you want the mudra, darling?
You can bring the mudra.
Okay. So the mudra, you take your pinky and your thumb and you attach them, and the other three fingers go straight up. And I'm going to uncross my legs and allow that blood to flow everywhere. And I love this because he talks about the pinky finger is very um, symbolic of the Buddhic body, Buddha and the peace and delight that he just always had that little slight smile on his face. So just allowing ourselves to drop in and breathe. And if you're standing, you bend your knees so there's a softness about you. And he said, just let the energy flow. And you may feel swirls, you may feel little jolts, you may not feel anything. But practicing this allows our whole system to wake up to ecstasy. Oh, I could stay here for a while.
I'd like to
Mm.
finish with a quote from Richard. There is actually no work more important on this earth than play. When we become truly playful, we reshape the nature of our collective reality. This is the great truth of the 46th city and its vast importance in today's modern, over serious world. Only ecstasy can silence the mind. Only ecstasy can solve the problems of the world. And only ecstasy can lead to world peace and universal love.
Oh my gosh, that gives me a whole new way of looking at the ecstatic leader as one of our pillars of the School of Light. Wow. Wow.
Till next time, much love.
Much love.